Hi, my name is Charles M. Jones, and in this video I'll tell you about my breakthrough solution for shifting from victimhood to responsibility. I'm sure you've observed that when faced with change and adversity, some leaders freak out and spiral into victimhood, while others step up and take responsibility. Well, different thought leaders have different names for these two ways of relating to a challenge. They all agree that when someone has fallen into victimhood, they tend to make bad decisions, engage in reactive behavior, damage relationships, and deliver inferior results. This pattern is not rare. In studies conducted at Fortune 500 companies, leaders were twice as likely to respond to challenges from the victimhood state than the responsible state. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is I've identified the root cause of victimhood. And, building on this discovery, I've developed a fast and reliable method for shifting into responsibility. The root cause of victimhood is our culturally conditioned tendency to erroneously assume that our negative emotions are responses to events and circumstances. It's this tendency that causes us to say things like, "This is so frustrating. You made me angry. I'm worried about what might happen. I feel guilty about what I did." This erroneous way of thinking causes us to complain about what's happening and look for someone or something to blame, and then react from the state of victimhood. If, however, we're interpreting our emotions correctly, we realize that our negative emotions are being generated by needs we are not on track to meet. Instead of thinking that our frustration is being caused by what's happening, we realize that the real reason we're frustrated is that, given what's happening, we are no longer on track to achieve a goal. Instead of thinking that we feel angry because our coworker didn't deliver something on time, we realize that we feel angry because we have yet to assert our right to hold our coworker accountable for not delivering on time. Instead of thinking that we're anxious because we've identified a potential risk, we realize that we're anxious because we have yet to put a plan in place to mitigate this risk. Instead of thinking that we feel guilty because we've hurt or inconvenienced someone, we realize that we feel guilty because we have yet to apologize and make amends. And this understanding causes us to take responsibility for getting ourselves on track to meet our need, or alternatively, to change or drop our need. I've identified the 21 subconscious needs that drive workplace performance, along with the negative emotions that alert us when we're not on track to meet these needs, and the positive emotions that let us know when we are on track to meet these needs. Our emotions are our built-in performance management system. Negative emotions call on us to modify our behavior to become more effective. And positive emotions call on us to strengthen the behaviors that are proving effective. Leaders who know how to decode their emotions are better able to keep themselves and their organizations on track and moving forward. Leaders who interpret their emotions correctly are more ambitious, vigilant, assertive, civil, rational, and resilient. In contrast, leaders who don't take the time to decode their emotions are flying blind. And leaders who fall into the trap of thinking that external events cause their emotions crash into victimhood. Telltale signs that a leader has crashed into victimhood include blaming and complaining, avoiding and procrastinating, anger management issues, people-pleasing, analysis paralysis, micromanaging, becoming arrogant or condescending, being dogmatic or inflexible, getting stressed out or even burnt out. If a leader is exhibiting any of these symptoms of victimhood, the fastest and most reliable way for them to overcome these leadership derailment risks is to get an emotional responsibility coach. Likewise, if a leader is seeking to become more ambitious, vigilant, assertive, civil, rational, resilient, empathetic, or adaptable. An emotional responsibility coach can help them strengthen their relationship to the needs that drive these leadership behaviors. These testimonials, most of which were received after just 1 or 2 coaching sessions, are indicative of what your leaders can expect from an emotional responsibility coaching engagement. There's nothing that takes a team down faster than victimhood. If your team is exhibiting any of these signs of victimhood, finger pointing, avoiding feedback or accountability, fear of conflict, withholding information, not learning from their mistakes, not taking calculated risks, holding grudges, poor morale, and disengagement, training your team in emotional responsibility is a fast and efficient way to get them back on track to being a functional team that takes responsibility for becoming a proud, passionate, appreciative, optimistic, vigilant, innovative, respectful, rational, empathetic team. Teams trained in emotional responsibility are better at solving problems, making decisions, resolving conflict, holding each other accountable, giving and receiving constructive feedback, and continually improving their performance. Finally, if you're looking across your organization and seeing blaming and shaming, lack of ownership or accountability, lack of innovation, low quality, employee grievances or lawsuits, poor customer service, low engagement or morale, high absenteeism, and high turnover, there's a good chance that you've got some victimhood baked into your organizational DNA. If so, we recommend an emotional responsibility consulting engagement in which we show you how to align your organization's values and norms with the human needs that drive mission success. Align your performance management practices with these needs, and ensure that the formal and informal leaders that set the tone for your organization's culture are modeling an emotionally responsible relationship to their needs. Nothing empowers people to make performance-enhancing changes in their behavior faster than emotional responsibility. And because emotional responsibility aligns an employee's emotions, thoughts, and behavior with their needs, it doesn't just improve their performance, it improves their mental and emotional well-being. Whether you want to improve the performance of an individual leader, an intact team, or an entire organization, emotional responsibility provides an efficient and humane framework for doing so. To learn more, please email me at charles@adaptivemastery.com.